So today I'm going to be talking about the aftermath of the 100 Years' War, and it's going to be the final video on this series. So I hope you liked it so far, and I hope you like this one. So yeah, well, let's get started. Well, of course, it's a war that went across 116 years, so naturally there is going to be quite a few consequences. The aftermath is going to be quite big. So first of all, well, a lot of people died. I think it was around from 2,300,000 to around 3,300,000. So, quite high numbers, and even bigger considering the population at the time. 2 million, I don't know in proportion what it would be today, but quite a few deaths. Which led to quite a few nobles, part of the nobility dying. And so a lot of the nobility died, obviously, then. And this particularly affected the French side. Also, it was a 116-year war, and it was the English who were more on the attack. So, well, you can imagine the state of the English bank after the war ended. Well, pretty much bankruptcy, not quite, but quite close. Let's go to a more positive side, although you can also see it as negative. The whole weapon area, weaponry, got quite developed. They developed cannons, more efficient, bow and arrow things, longbows, crossbows. They just thought, hey, we're gonna have a war like this. We should be on top of both sides, by the way. And so weapons industry, I guess, but not really industry, it really developed, really boomed. Also, like positively, well, like I said, it was a long war, costly war, and not only economically but also socially. So countries who had been lifelong enemies and would continue to be so for a few years, such as England and France, decided to try and develop a sort of international diplomacy, try and talk between the countries. They began international diplomacy and specialized diplomats. However, well, you can probably tell if you know anything about history that, yes, this began here, but it wasn't really developed until much later on. Like, another positive side, Parliament had to really take charge in this because the king was often fighting wars. So Parliament really emerged quite victorious in a sense after the 100 Years' War. They managed to just become stronger, really. Yeah, just assert themselves as a powerful government institution. Not more powerful than the monarch, obviously. I do say obviously a lot. I really have to stop. For sure, not a more powerful institution than the monarch, but comparing to a parliament after the 100 Years' War to that of before, it's improved quite a lot. Well, on the more negative side, trade that decreased, especially because they had alienated quite a significant country. And also the allies of that country, and also the English the English and the French, they were putting all their money to weaponry and other stuff, and men, they couldn't really develop trade, so English wool, which was quite famous, declined, and French Gascon wine also declined. The English are quite well regarded as the losers of the war. They had, even before 100 Years' War, gathered quite a significant amount of land in France. And during the 100 Years' War too. That didn't last long because they lost Calais. They lost everything but Calais, which would be lost in 1554, if I'm not mistaken. So they lost every single territory they had in France except Calais. Well, also, people in the countries, especially soldiers and people related to them, they began to feel more nationalist, more I need to fight for my country. Because, well, 116 years, that's quite a few generations. People after generation after generation being sent to fight the French or the English, well, that promoted nationalism, which, yeah. Well, in England, like I said, it was kind of chaos. And, well, there's agreement on how they conducted the war, on the power of the king, and many other factors. Little conflict named the Wars of the Roses took place, which went around 1455 to 1487. Yeah. Although some may argue 1485. But it's the consequence of the Hundred Years' War. Which I love that part of history, how one event directly impacts the next one. So yeah. Also, well, it really there was any doubt of the rivalry between the English and the French, well, not anymore. And well, this rivalry, it's still present today, not as openly, it's mainly in football and rugby and sports generally, but the English and the French don't tend to get along that well. I don't mean individually, but as the countries themselves, politicians, I guess. I'm not entirely sure on that, but that's how a person who's not living either in England or in France, perceive it. Also, well, I mentioned before how wars were extremely costly. Well, in order to pay for them, the monarchs needed to raise taxes, which sucked, and also that led to more and more discontent and less money coming in. So yeah. Then, well, society in times of war, they need a hero. Either that be religion or an actual person. And the Hundred Years' War really led to a period of adoring certain figures like Joan of Arc in France and Henry V in England. Also, I've skipped this, but you know how I mentioned before how the English need to raise taxes, leading to social unrest. Well, the English did develop new ways of, imposing taxes onto the people in a more comfortable way. I think you know what I mean, but collecting taxes was kind of revolutionized in that sense. And, well, you don't even need me to tell you that in the places where the actual fighting took place, especially in French towns, they were completely destroyed. So that kind of sucked for the residents there. And, well, last but not least, how France really established itself as an absolute monarchy, and the monarch had not that much, the people didn't have that much power. It was more authoritarian. It had been that way before, but the 100 Years' War really solidified it. So that's pretty much it. That is the aftermath of the 100 Years' War. And that is the end of this series. So I hope you found it interesting. I love this topic. And I just love how in each phase the English seem to be doing really well, and then the French come at the end and say, haha, no. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it interesting. And yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for watching this little series on the 100 Years' War. So yeah, bye.